Hey, this is Matt Cox, and I'm going to do a interview real quick with Colby Baker. Colby is my video editor. Is that what would you say? Video? Yeah. Okay. It was my video editor, and basically I'm just going to explain kind of, who Colby is and how we ended up hooking up. And it's actually a video we already did in Vegas, but the sound quality and just everything about the video was just all the Vegas videos were bad. It was just it's a bad situation. All right. So this is Colby, and so what do you? How did we meet?
How did we meet? Right. Yeah. So like I said, we already done this video before. So someone reached out to me, Tyler Sherman, who we both know, and pretty much reached out to me, saw a video I'd posted online, and was like, hey, I think you could help Matt, and I think Matt could help you.
Yeah, this is the Graham Stephan video.
Yeah. So kind of to rewind a little bit about basically how I got into all this. Like a year and a half ago, when the lockdown started, is when I first started messing around with YouTube, trying to figure out, what it is that makes a channel work and what it is that attracts certain audiences and things like that. So when I was working from home in my old job, I just started a YouTube channel to learn. And then once I kind of learned, started making a little bit of money, then I started applying for other channels, like working for other channels, whether it's editing, consulting, whatever. And Graham Stephan, I'm sure most everybody knows who that is, 3 million subscribers. He posted a job. They posted a job for an internship or an assistant position. And when I saw a position, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get this job. And and I went all out because all the videos were just someone recording, taking my own advice. Taking my own advice. Better. Yeah, so anybody that comments about the video production or the audio, that's at me. So,
I speak right into this thing, by the way. I'm like inches away. Yeah. So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so everyone, like I said, everyone's recording from their phone, just saying like, hey, I think it'd be cool to work with you. I think this. And after the first day of that job being posted, I knew it was like, okay, I'm going to get this job, or I'm going to get a chance to at least meet them.
Right.
And I, had my buddy had a nice camera, and we made like a 10, 15 minute video that just like 10 times better than anything else.
Yeah, it was great. It was a good video. That's the video Tyler sent me. See, that's the thing. Like when you do this, you ought to play that video.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we'll put a link in the description for it and play it up here in the corner. But it's just like everyone's just sitting at their desk. I'm gonna make this thing entertaining so that it really pops out to them. And made that. Went out to Las Vegas. I ended up not. I'm not gonna say I didn't take the job, but I pretty much told them when I was out there, like, hey, I doubt this is gonna work because I got a family.
Yeah.
They're not wanting to move, but I wanted to come out here to make the connection. I wanted to come out here to see what could come of it. And then I came out there. They mentioned me on their podcast. Tyler reached out to me. We got on the phone, met for breakfast, and started editing some of the vlog videos in the kitchen. And then I remember one of the first things he told me, we sat down, was like, we got to get this thing to a podcast format because that's the way to go. And
people don't realize they don't. Guys are like, oh, you should do interviews. Okay, yeah, but to do interviews like concrete, you need 3 cameras. Like I could barely edit my one feed.
Yeah.
So and I don't have the right camera set up, the right cameras. Like I don't have a bunch of stuff. So to do that, the overwhelming anxiety that I feel having to do that made it just agony to try and get through, even to do one.
Yeah.
And even though everybody's pushing, you got to do it. Look, I just like it's hard to make myself do things that I just don't want to do. And it was super difficult. And then when Tyler said, well, you got to hire somebody, I said, I can't afford to hire anybody. And then he said, look, you got to talk to this guy. You guys can work something out. So and then we met. Yeah,
we did. And we're pumping them out now and only up from here. So, I think the big goal for us is every video, every episode, we're trying to, tweak things and make it a little bit better each and every time.
Right.
So,
and then they are getting better. Like the views are going up, the subscriber base is going, like everything, like the amount of money the channel was making was what, $300-400, and now it's up to over 2,000.
Yeah.
So it's climbing. Yeah. We're hitting a ceiling.
Yeah.
But if we keep pushing, it's just going to keep climbing and climbing and climbing. Yeah. If I can get to the point where it's at least paying my bills and your bills, or some of your bills and some of my bills or something, then we can really double down on it and really start pumping them out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's the goal. But it's hard to juggle, like, you're juggling multiple jobs, I'm juggling painting, writing, doing, the books, doing the podcast, doing documentary, doing all the other stuff that I'm doing. Like, it's hard to juggle all that and keep the YouTube channel, consistent. But, once we're at the point now where we're probably a few months away from being able to say, okay, this is the main source of income.
Yeah.
And we can really double down on it and really just start pumping them out.
Pumping out 1, 2 full podcasts every single week.
We got to go back to Vegas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm down.
Bozak contacted me, and he was like, "Hey, bro, we got to go back to Vegas. We got to do it right. We got to bring our cameras. We got to." And even though he doesn't seem excited about this, but I still think a good idea would be to do to go to the Ocean's 11, like where they, the casinos, like do it in that and talk about Ocean's 11 and break down like the different scams. Because let's face it, even if we talk about, Bozak and I talk about a specific scam, the podcast, the conversation is going to spiral off into other things. Yeah. So I think that's a good idea. And he had some good ideas for different podcasts or different topics, and we could go out there for 3 or 4 days. Yeah. We need to do that.
Yeah,
that would be great.
Get some mics. Bring the mics. Bring the cameras. Bring the lights.
Actually bring the cameras. What happened last time we went to Vegas is that, okay, so here when we do this, the podcast, we're using my cameras, and all this is my stuff. It's pieced together, but it's all my stuff. So the whole time, Colby and I aren't even really communicating. We're communicating through Tyler, and Tyler's like, yeah, Colby's going to video the whole thing. And I'm like, okay, so cool. He'll we'll do a podcast there. So Colby's being told we're going to do a podcast there. So Colby goes and shows up, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, did you bring your equipment? And he says, what? I didn't bring my equipment. You brought your equipment. And I was like, why you're coming to video? And he's like, we're doing a podcast, and when we podcast, we use my equipment. So as soon as he said that, I thought, man, he's right. Like, he's thinking podcast. Of course, I'm going to bring we're always using my equipment. Of course, I should show up with the equipment. But I was thinking, because Tyler was saying, Colby's coming and he's going to video everything. I'm thinking he's coming and going to video everything with his equipment. But he showed up with nothing. I showed up with nothing. So all we had was our cell phones. And, we made the best of it. Oh, yeah. And John Bozak, furious. This is half-assed. I can't be a part of this. This is ridiculous. My fans expect more of me. I was laughing so hard. I was like, are you joking? Look at you. Nobody expects professionalism from you. And we ended up doing it. He was pissed off the whole time.
Yeah. Knocked a couple videos out there, though. They did all right.
Yeah, they did good.
Yeah. So... yeah, that's how it worked. It's been 2 to 3 months so far, give or take, and
it's been about 2 months. Has it been about 2 months? Or is it coming up on? I don't even think it's been. I think it's coming up on 2 months.
Yeah, coming up on 2 months, I guess. Yeah, probably 2 to 3 months when I was contemplating leaving, and so in the time that I've started, I've left 2 different jobs.
Yeah, but you were on the same job for how long?
You originally? So I was working a normal corporate logistics job for the last 5 to 6 years. Right. Climbing the corporate ladder, all that kind of stuff.
But you weren't happy.
It wasn't what I was interested in.
Right.
Once I kind of dove into YouTube, started making a little money, and then realizing the potential there is for someone to gain a large following, and then all the things that you can do from that. And it was interesting to me. I was like, I got to find a way to get more into it. So that's kind of why I was applying for all these jobs, and then. So the first thought was to, leave my job. I'm going to do 50-50, some of my freelance work. I'm going to work with one of my buddies at this company with some more flexible and freedom. And then since then, it's just been, growing and growing to where I'm able to just, right now I'm full time, editing and doing some things like that for some multiple people. So.
And it's basically covering the same amount of money?
Yeah.
That's a very quick transition, and you're lucky. Yeah. But I mean, I also think that's indicative of everybody that they're doing one job that pays their bills, but they're not happy, and they're afraid to leave that job. Yeah. And then so you make that leap, but it came together. Yeah. Obviously it came together. But that's my whole thing is I always think to myself, if I can just figure out to do something that I really love doing, the money should come. Like, you can't be stupid. You can't say, hey, I want to surf by myself on, you can't be stupid. I want to surf for the rest of my life. Okay, well, if you can figure out how that can also, you can do that and make money, you'll probably make a lot of money doing it because you love it. It's the same thing, but this has come together pretty quickly, and it seems to be growing. If it continues to grow, then you're gonna.
Yeah, and people can tell. Like, people can tell when you care about something, when you're passionate about something, and then
definitely
that pays dividends to like everything else. And there's a couple like moments when I was working that job, like this video that I posted, and like got 10,000-12,000 views, and like all of positive feedback, and then I had some like other things happen where it's kind of unrelated, but I spoke at a funeral for a family member, and like just like the preparing was it's kind of like a YouTube video almost.
Right.
You're preparing a script, you're doing all this stuff, and I was able to use my creativity and things like that, and then like the feedback I got from that, and I was like, you know what, like these are where my gifts and talents are. These are things that I care about. Like, I want to be able to use my creativity and like push, because the thing is about YouTube and about a lot of this is there is no written path. There's no like one direct way. Like, it's all open, and you kind of got to make your own path. And doing that, like applying for that job in Vegas, going out there, meeting them, and then like the connections, kind of the dots that have been connected after that is just like, that's something that's fun to me. And I
was just thinking, I actually took a creative writing class in prison. Yeah. Taught by a guy that was super just a genius. I mean, just a super smart guy. And it's funny, he said, like, we would talk about the different, like, this is how you do this. This is how, like, here are the rules kind of that you follow. Yeah. And then he would always say, but you have to understand, like, this is the norm. This is basically how it's done. But for everybody for all the thousands and thousands of people that are doing it this way, there's always some guy who's doing all the wrong things and making millions of dollars at it. Like, that's the whole thing. It's like, this is the basic path, but there's always some guy who's saying, I'm not going to do that, and he's making a ton of money doing it. So, it's the same thing. That's kind of like YouTube. It's like, this is the basic pattern that you follow, and then anybody can, then suddenly you go, but what about this guy? Yeah, but this guy's making 10 times what these guys are making, doing all the wrong stuff, doing all the stuff you're saying not to do. Yeah. And he's making tons of money. Like, there's never really any rules. It's really just kind of following your heart. Yeah. And hopefully it pays off.
Going with your gut. Yeah. Right. Going with your gut, and that betting on yourself. And that's the type of personality I know you have, and that I have too, is just like, when I was working that job, I was really never satisfied, I guess. And like, I always knew, it was like, eventually I want to do something like this. Right. And I was like, I'm the type of person I'm willing to bet on myself. It's just like finding that right opportunity, that right timing to make it happen. And like, luckily, everything that had led up to that point in my life, I set myself up where I was able to kind of take that leap. I wasn't, I'm not stranded or stuck to that one place. But
I knew when we had breakfast, I knew you'd be good at this because, or that this is definitely what you want to do it. Because when we were talking, I was like, well, you've got a good job, you're making money, and you go, but I'm not happy. And I thought that's it. And you've got to be happy.
Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest things that I've realized this last year. I could be making all that money, but like, when I'm hating my life, not hating it, but like, I'm not enjoying waking up from 7 to 5 days a week, like, what's the point of it all?
Yeah. I can't work 50, 60 hours a week doing something I'm not happy at.
It's just like draining me. Like, I want to be like, when I wake up in the morning, I want to be excited to like take on whatever position it is. Not everything's like, super exciting that I do, but when if I'm working at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, like, I'm like, it's a different feeling than me doing my old job, waking up at 11 o'clock, doing something pissed off, than like, this is something that I enjoy doing.
So I think it's creativity. Yeah. I think to me, when something's complete, like like a video's complete, and you did this, and I imported the video, and I stacked it, and I edited this, and I threw in this little clip here, and I did this, and I did that, and when it's completely done, and the thumbnail's done, and you put it up and everything, you kind of look at it, and you're like, that's a good feeling. Like, that's a good. Yeah. You can't get that, working at the post office. Yeah. You can't get that, saying, here's the stuff, the truck's loaded, go. Okay, the guy came back, unload the truck. There's, it's not a creative kind of venture. I think when you're done and it's like doing a painting. Yeah. And whenever I talk to people and they're like, I'm like, what it is? If you actually mow.
It's good.
Did he shut off?
No, I'm just checking it.
Okay. Yeah. Like, if you ever mowed your yard, Like to an average person who works at Walmart and just they're going to their job and come back. Difference is when you mow your yard, as soon as you're done mowing it and you look back and you see your yard and it's completely mowed, you get that 5 or 10 second feeling of like, nice.
Yeah.
Like I did, like it's a great feeling. And that's how I feel when I finish a video and see a video go up. It's how I feel when I finish a story. It's how I when I finish a painting. Like all of those are that amazing feeling, and that feeling you can't get from anything else.
Yeah, and you complete it, and you look back on it.
Yeah, it's pride.
Yeah,
it's pride. It's that feeling of completion. It's that's a great feeling.
Like look, and then the feeling when those videos pop off or when something starts doing really well.
Right.
You know, it's a whole nother level.
You know, like the Dowd video that we did, it's got like 75,000 views or something like that. Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. Like, so that's the other problem. That's the problem with the algorithm. Like, I don't know why. Why is it that that video is doing so well? Like, even like the one time I did a video about how to get like 800 credit scores. Mm-hmm. And I did that video. That video got like 60,000. I was like, man, this thing's doing great. I turned around and I basically did another video that was very, very similar that I thought, well, these are the reasons it's doing well. I mentioned Graham Stephan. I talked about, it was a whole thing. It was a Graham Stephan. It was something about finance or real estate. Like I did a whole very similar thing that I thought I used the same the same tags, everything.
Yeah.
That video did average. Like, I mean, it's like and then I did another. I said, okay, well then it must be just because it was credit. So then I did one on just like how to build credit, how to do this, how to do that. That video did okay. Like, I'm like, well, I don't know what the formula is. Like, it's hit or miss. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's it's trying to figure out what that formula is. Like that adds an element of, I'd be more excited if it was just the channel was kicking ass, entirely and just bringing in a bunch of money. But in general, it is trying to tweak it and figure out what's going to hit. Like the somebody corrected me the other day.
McAfee?
I was saying McAfee.
Yeah.
He said, no, it's not McAfee. It's McAfee? McAfee, whatever.
Yeah.
McAfee. So anyway, the McAfee thing, that one's it's not doing great, but it's doing okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just trying to figure out what's...
tweak everything, and that's another thing that I think a lot of people who view YouTube, me myself included, before I started, is like everything that goes in to the backstage of it all. Like, whether someone clicks on this video or not is going to be solely determined on our title, our thumbnail, or how they enjoyed your last videos,
Right.
So those three things really determine the metrics of how many people click, and then YouTube's going to promote the videos that people click on more and watch longer and things like that. So there's so many,
factors
that go into it. There's usually never one single thing, but it's trying to, dive in there and figure it out. And even the best people, even the top people, they don't know. They have an idea, but really, like, I've heard many people say, like, I thought this video was going to be a banger and it flopped. And this video I just did in a day, and it's like one of my best performing videos. And it's just like, sometimes, who knows why, what videos do well, but I think the most important part is just you consistently push them out and just consistently make them better, and eventually it'll start coming. And it's exponential though too when you see when you start seeing some of these guys, their YouTube growth, just their graphs just
And that's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah,
that's what we're working towards.
Yep. That's why we're here.
All right. You want to wrap this up? Because
yeah, I'll wrap it up. So if you've made it this far in this video, you're probably the last 20, 30% of probably the main core group. So if you haven't liked this video, make sure you like this video, because that is one of the factors that YouTube kind of, looks at when they are, determining if they're going to send this video to 1,000, 2,000 more people. So with that being said, make sure you like this video, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
All right. See you.